Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're watching this. It's nice to see you, or rather be seen by you. We're trying this and we'll see what happens. I hope this is at least exciting for you, or entertaining, or interesting, or whatever. I hope it's something for you. But let's get on with this. And we're talking about worship today. And John 4 tells us this in verse 22 and 24 through 24. Jesus says this: "You Samaritans worship what you do not know. We worship what we do know, for salvation is from the Jews. Yet a time is coming, and now has come, when the true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and in truth, for they are the kind of worshipers the Father seeks. God is spirit, and his worshipers must worship him in spirit and in truth." First, Jesus tells us that the Samaritans, he said, you worship who you do not know. And kind of making an accusation there, I would assume, I believe that he's making an accusation saying, you don't even know, you're trying to worship God, but you don't even know him. And I remember Paul talked about the Greeks and how they worship so many gods, and they didn't want to forget any gods, and so they even included the unknown God. And I don't think God likes it when we try to worship him and not know him. He talks about the Jews, and Jesus said that the Jews do worship who they do know. They said that they do know God, and we understand that Jesus, God himself, wants the relationship with us. It's not just enough to try to worship some unknown God, but we actually must know him. We must have the relationship with him. I'm reminded of just a thought of, it's the relationship. That's what God wants. Next, we see that God looks for worshipers. He's not just looking for worship. He has worship. He created the stars, the moon, the sky, the earth, the rocks, everything, and they give him worship all the time. But he's not seeking for worship. He already has that. He's seeking for worshipers. Once again, we see God wants that relationship with me and with you. He wants to have the relationship with the actual worshiper. It's not just enough for him to have worship. He wants worshipers. He tells us that we must worship him in spirit. We must connect to God in spirit. The flesh is not enough. Just to do it in the flesh is just the beginning. It is a good starting point. We have to have somewhere to start, and sometimes we can't work up our spirit, so we just go ahead and start in the flesh. But that's not going to be enough. We must continue on and worship him in spirit. We're told that God is spirit. He's not confined to a body like we are. He's not even confined to a temple. In 1 Kings chapter 8, Solomon, who actually built the temple in the Old Testament, he knows God's not even contained there. Our worship should not be contained to just a certain place, like the church house. It shouldn't be even contained to just one day, Sunday. But our worship should be like God, in our spirit, not contained. It should be every day. It should be everywhere we go. And also we know he said we must worship him in truth. The root word of the word there that he used, means not concealing. It means we must know who God is. Once again, we see that when we worship God, it's not just the worship that he desires, but it's that relationship. He wants to have the relationship with the worshiper, not just have the worship. So I hope that inspires you to worship and to have a relationship with Jesus. It is good to try this, and I look forward to our next opportunity together. Thank you.